Yeah, tell me more.
Is it recording?
Why is it so dark?
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, carry on.
So, activist meetings are better than dark rooms because in a dark room you can have sex, but there is just absolutely no like, how should we describe it?
Chat?
Yeah. Dark rooms are not always inspiring places to be, shall we say?
Yeah.
You can fill the void with sex, but you can't fill the void with like community validation.
Yeah.
Activists, it's like you can actually still have you have pretty good sex, and then you can have like best chat ever afterwards as well, and just set the world to rights.
Yeah, exactly. This is a bit of a stupid question. If Peter Staley was an ugly mug, would you have got involved in ACT UP?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your message to Peter?
Peter Staley is not an ugly mug, and I would have still gotten involved with ACT UP even if he was, because Peter Staley has a very special place in my heart. Peter Staley, if you ever come to Berlin, you are staying in this apartment, okay? It's a bit nicer than it looks in the background right now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you around town, okay? And I will feed you breakfast in the morning, okay?
Yeah. I'm glad we got that. We'll tell him that. We should bring him back.
Peter Staley, I start gushing. It makes me gush.
What's more important to end the HIV/AIDS pandemic? White male A-gays or HIV positive migrants?
Oh, I've had it with white male A-gays. HIV positive migrants, definitely. But the fucking problem is...
Because you've had a lot of experience in both worlds.
Yeah, so... there's a lot of problems with white male A-gays, but...
explain an A-gay first.
Explain an A-gay. An A-gay is the type of gay who is probably upper middle class, okay? And they're the type of gay where they've probably got like they probably spend too much money on their haircut, for starters. Mm-hmm. And they also often hang out at like mildly exclusive events, such as their like friend who's opening an art gallery because they've got too much money.
Oh, okay.
And they also have probably got a small dog, probably a French bulldog, that's probably got a black leather harness that they like dress up as like a fetish dog.
Yeah.
And also they're the type of gay where if you like, you'll pull them in a club, right? And then you'll go back to their flat, and they've probably got like a really big flat in Waterloo or something like this. And then you'll go back, and then they'll like, they'll like give you some red wine or something, because they won't just like whack open a beer from the fridge. And then you'll be like either talking in the living room, or you might start having sex on the carpet. And then they'll be like, oh, don't spill the red wine on the carpet. Like, I spent too much, like this carpet costs like, £3,000 or something. God, yeah. Don't spill the red wine on my carpet. And I'm like, don't get a carpet that you can't have sex on.
Yeah. That's gonna be in a bit.
Like, you need to check your fucking priorities.
That line is gonna be in a bit.
Where was I? A-gays or migrants?
Yeah.
Basically, the world does not go round without migrants, so they are basically the basis of all meaningful life, in my opinion.
Oh wow.
And white male A-gays are, they're important because their privilege has got them to very high up places in this world, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because they get too much privilege and then they start forgetting about all the other minorities in the world, and start shitting on them, just like, what white straight men do. But it can be useful for gays to have these rich white privileged A-gays, because actually they get up into higher places in society and actually start doing things like making very like baby steps on like things like they end up doing things like arguing about gay marriage and like sure, they do some stuff about like PrEP and stuff like this, and like they'll do maybe like, you know, they'll end up getting like an AIDS campaign for THT or something like this, but it's like, you know, we're not doing things like fucking, this is not the same as like trans woman of colour fucking throwing bricks, you know, this is like suits talking to each other.
Yeah.
So it's not really on the same level as everyone else.
Tell us a bit more about that difference between like trans black women of colour throwing bricks, trans women of colour throwing bricks.
It's perfectly illustrated by it's basically the same as grassroots organisation versus NGOs, because these privileged white gay men are basically, you know, they want to earn a lot of money, they have privilege, and they get up in higher positions in society. So they'll be, for example, CEO of a big charity, or like, for example, they'll be like, you know, they'll be sitting in their board meetings and stuff like this, and sure, they'll bring up like certain community issues up to this level, such as gay marriage, but gay marriage might not be the biggest priority for the community right now, to be honest. So it's all very well fighting about the issues that they believe in from their privileged point of view, but for example, what about for example, like transphobia, like on like a street level basis, where trans people are still being attacked in the street and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't hear them shouting about this stuff. I hear them having board meetings about the prices of drugs and stuff like this, which sure is important to the community, but like, it's important in their world. It's not important in like, there's like, it's sure you've got like your G in your LGBTQIA plus. Okay, there's all of these other people, and actually it's all very well having, you know, another billboard campaign of saying, you know, okay, you need to go and it's like HIV testing week or something like this, and we've got some like good-looking white muscly gay man on a billboard or something. Yeah. And I'm like, why is there not like a black trans woman on this billboard right now? Because like, hi, they've got like HIV happening in their community as well. Big time. So it's far too close-minded, all of this stuff.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. It's a really great answer, babes. Knowing that you spearheaded a campaign that led to 90% reduction of new diagnoses.
Was it 90%?
That's what they're saying.
Really?
Amongst white gay men in London.
Yeah, but still, I didn't know it was 90. I thought it was 50%.
I think it's 90.
Fuck. Where'd you get that from? I want to check it.
Dean Street.
From Dean Street?
That's
ridiculous.
90%. 90% reduction. HIV.
This is not drugs.
What is it? Got cold? Yeah, 90%.
90%?
Yeah.
At Dean Street in 1 year? In how long?
How a London clinic reduced HIV infections by 90%, and why more European cities can do the same by AIDS map.
By AIDS map? Okay, I'm going to look it up. That's mental.
Yeah. Who wrote the article?
Is it Gus?
Gus. Oh, we've got to talk about him as well. Yeah, knowing that you spearheaded a campaign that led to 90% reduction of new diagnoses amongst white gay men in London, why are you not currently standing on a cheap gold soapbox in Old Compton Street making people pay to touch you?
I would love to do that. I would love to.
We can make it happen for the book launch.
People can definitely pay me money and then touch me.
Nice.
That is fine. And I do love standing on a gold box as well.
You want that? You want a gold?
Yeah, I'll take it gold. I'll take it a mixture of... It's 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes.
Oh no, but it's your phone now.
Oh, yours doesn't need every 10 minutes.
My phone's budget.
Does it cut off after 10 minutes? Let's check. It's 9:30.
No, it's fine. You can just carry on with that. You just send it us all in one wing transfer.
Oh, okay.
It's my phone, which is shit.
Why does it stop every 10 minutes?
Because fuck.
Don't know, it just happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would definitely like, if we're going to choose a colour about what box we're going to have it gold and pink glitter mixed, okay?
Yeah.
Nice little mix. Yeah. So, Yeah, why am I standing on a soapbox right now? Because, number one, because I have a deep mistrust of the media, and so I don't really like to be glorified and interviewed by the media. Number two, because I also stepped back from activism about 3 years ago when I left the UK because of Brexit.
Yeah.
Why else? Because sometimes I do stand on a gold box, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because it's also like, when people like try and like I'm gonna make up a word, heroize you.
Yeah, hero worship.
Hero worship you.
Yeah.
It's fucking awkward as well. It's weird when people are like, oh my god, you did this and everything. It's like, thank you, that's really nice, but like, I'm also like a real person. Like, we don't need to idolize anyone now, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's also weird when that happens.
Yeah. And it's, because it's individualizing it.
It's individualizing it, and it's not any individual at all. It's like, literally, you could say it's a bunch of individuals, but those bunch of individuals are a community as well. And it's like, you can say like, oh wow, like the NAT did the court battle against the NHS and stuff, and that was a massive success in that was a tangible successful win and everything. But still, that was part of a wider revolt against the NHS that was happening, and the reason why they did that was because they could see right in front of them this massively inspired community that was like, let's take on everyone. So
tell us about your that leads on to the, because that makes me think of the NHS demo outside Department of Health, but that might not be one of your top two highlights during your action highlights during your HIV PrEP queer activism journey.
Activism highlights.
Surely
getting naked in Gilead offices.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. Getting naked. What was the other one?
Department of Health, probably.
Not Blind Date.
Blind Date was great, I have to say. Blind Date.
Let's talk about all three briefly.
Blind Date was side story, not as PrEP related. Blind Date was where I met Sammy.
Oh.
And then became Facebook friends with Sammy, saw that Sammy was going to Calais, then got involved with doing refugee volunteering with you.
Yeah.
And that was how the whole series of Calais storylines started as well.
Yeah, big time.
So that is like, that was like the epitome of like random minds coming together and then something great happening at the end of it.
Oh, you spent a lot of your life there. So tell me, three highlights: Blind Date, Department of Health, and Getting Your Bum Out. Which one do you want to start with?
I'll start with the easy one. Blind Date was great because I always actually originally thought, even like this is all in my head, but I originally thought it was like, okay, HIV Blind Date, so actually so we're gonna have everyone's gonna be positive on stage, and then everyone was like, actually no, we kind of need to show the diversity of the community, and actually then
because it was Longret, it was Duncan, and it was Claire.
Yeah. And actually I was really,
and Tom, he was asking the questions.
Yeah. And I think I was still quite new at this point, but I was surprised by the diversity actually.
Yeah.
Because also I got invited
to go audience of the whole crew.
Of everything, but the way the event was organised it was like the diversity, like, I mean, I was quite new to all of this, so I was still in like my AIDS white gay men sort of bubble, and then we're like, oh, here's Claire, for example, and then was like, and then they were like, oh, you're not even positive, you're on PrEP, so you get on stage as well. And I was like, really? Okay, yeah.
Did you go on stage that
night? There was two. We did 2 blind dates, didn't we? 3. Yeah. I wasn't there for the third one though.
The third one was in West London. Or Dave Boston.
Yeah, I was in the audience for that one.
Yeah.
But there was one where Sammy was the contestant, and I was one of them.
Yeah. Rich Watkins.
Yeah, and Rich Watkins was there, and Duncan.
No, Duncan was in the first one.
Anyway, what song? I can't remember who the third contestant was.
I think it was you, Sammy, and Rich.
No, but Sammy was on the other side of the curtain.
Oh, who was? It was me.
It was you.
It was me.
Yeah, it was
you.
Yeah. So yeah, and that was really good. And I was actually impressed by the way we were organising it and everything. That they actually wanted non-positive people on there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also just 'cause it was a fucking it was hilarious doing that event as well.
Yeah.
And
what was funny about it?
It was the chaos, the anarchy of it.
Yeah.
And it was this guy who had a wheelbarrow of condoms in the corner.
Oh yeah, he was from the local hospital.
That was so good. That was genius. And also like, oh my god, the decoration. What was it? Donna Amara did some. Built so much shit for it as well.
Do you remember what they built?
Oh, these signs. Do you remember the signs?
The signs were amazing. I went to a gay bar the other night with a giant gay sign. Is this alright? Yeah.
Jokes.
Yeah.
The signs were so good.
Legendary.
And yeah, fucking hell, there was so much to love about that.
Tell us about the getting naked.
Getting naked was.
Tell us about that time you got naked.
The protest at in Gilead's offices. That was the one where I really actually had stars in my eyes a little bit and was like, this is what I always dreamed protests would be like.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is like climax, like amazing, inspirational protest.
Greg was there as well, wasn't he? Yeah.
I think Greg was there, yeah.
In the street, yeah.
And basically was like, you know, like we're meeting up in secret down the road first and was like briefing everyone and everything like this. And was like, right, this is your role, and we were like walking along the street and we're all like wearing these like ridiculous clothes because we need to rip them off to get naked really fast and everything. And we're all like painting all the letters on each other and stuff like this, and everyone is kind of like being really serious but also like having a massive laugh with each other, but then doing media interviews in between, but then also cruising each other as well.
Yeah.
So and this was, I mean, it's exactly the same as like how it is in things like United in Anger in the 80s and stuff, when they're like, oh yeah, we're all at a meeting, but then we're also actually kind of cruising each other on the sides at the same time.
Who were you cruising at the Gilead action?
At the Gilead, do you remember Jake? I was cruising Jake.
Jake Chambers.
Yeah, Jake Chambers.
You were bumming for a while.
We bummed for a little bit, and I was cruising in at that one, that was a good bumming, that was.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, he was media spokesperson that day.
Oh yeah, he started acting at Bristol.
Yeah.
Good.
And then, and we all like ran into the office and was like stop the street, and we're walking down the street and there's like 10 cameras following us and everything like this. And it's like, we like walk in and there's like action stations and you're like, to the security guard, you're like, sit there and everything, like this is happening, like you do not have control of the situation.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That was really, that was really, I thought this was like, and it was a successful protest.
It was,
as well.
yeah. And in fact makes me think, message Jay, message Jay. We've just got to do more things which challenge. It's easy to do like nice cozy things, but actually that was it. It was in their face.
Yeah.
And what about the
Department of Health protest? This was, for me, that was my greatest protest, because there was it was a bit of a shit show leading up to that process, because everyone knew that they wanted to do a protest. I went to the United for Prep Coalition meetings. Yeah. And there's basically all the biggest names in HIV campaigning.
And that had started in the last 6 months or something?
That had started in the last 6 months.
Had I been there?
And it was when the NHS had said, we're not giving it you. And we were sitting in the United for Prep meeting. Basically, they had the United for Prep meeting, and it was happening at the same time as the ACT UP meeting as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at the United for Prep meeting, listening to what everyone was having to say, and then doing like immediate reporting back, and being like, right, now we're in the ACT UP meeting. They're all talking and talking, and they ain't walking. They're not doing the walk at the
Well, they just go around in circles.
They're just talking, going like, oh, we should really do a protest about this. This is the perfect time to do a protest. Yeah. So, who wants to organise the protest then? Silence in the room.
Fuck's sake, man.
It even gets to the point where it was like, okay, well, like, why don't THT do the protest? And they were like, oh, we don't really have the manpower to do this, and stuff like this. And then it went round to Yusuf from NAT, and Yusuf was like, we are not the right people to organise this protest. Like, what was his excuse? It was something like, we're just not getting involved with that type of thing, or something like this. And I was sitting there, like, jaw on the floor, just being like, nothing's happening. It got to the end of the meeting, and was like, okay, yeah, let's meet again next month and, like, talk a bit more.
Was the Department for Health protest after the naked action?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Department of Health protest was July 2017. It was late.
Yeah.
And
so already there was a lot of energy from the naked protest. You were hyped up from that.
Yeah.
Like, let's fucking go and do it.
And there was a lot from, what was the one where you and Danny threw jam around?
Yeah, and Dermot and Donna.
Yeah.
The Hep C protest.
That was at a conference, wasn't it?
And did that generate a lot of attention?
Because this was when we were raging about drug prices as well. That was a real campaign that ACT UP was on. So we did the Gilead one, then we invaded the Hep C conference. And there was a lot of energy and momentum happening off the back of that campaign as well. And then there was the one where Sammy and a lot of people actually invaded the NHS England offices to try and talk to Simon Stevens. And they took the pots and pans and went and banged.
Yeah.
So that was also a really good one.
Were you there?
I wasn't there. I was helping. I'm not going to put myself out there, but that protest might have been my idea, because
it's a good one.
Because I was at the United for Prep coalition, and Sheena McCormack was there. Oh my gosh, Queen of Prep, Sheena McCormack. Yeah. And basically, after all of these meetings, I'd be like, right, they're all talking, and I was like, Sheena, like, I'm gonna go back to this ACT UP meeting.
Was she in there?
She was in the meetings,
and I would grab
her afterwards.
Yeah.
And be like, right, I'm going to the ACT UP meeting now. We're gonna actually do a protest. Give me some information. And then Sheena was like, I'm not sure if you can quote this, but Sheena was like, well, your target is Simon Stevens, because basically the Conservative government have said you're not having PrEP because they've got wind, and basically the man who made this decision and told the government to make this decision is Simon Stevens.
Remember, she told us that in the pub.
Yeah, she told us this in the pub.
Was that you, me and Greg, or?
Yeah, maybe.
You, me and Greg with her in a pub in Bloomsbury, I think it was.
And I was like, where's Simon Stevens? And she was like, I might have heard that his offices are in NHS England headquarters at Elephant and Castle. I might have heard that he has a meeting there every Tuesday afternoon or something like this. And she was like, if you go on a Tuesday afternoon, then you might bump into Simon Stevens. And I was like, yes, intelligence from Sheena McCormack.
Intel.
So went back to the ACT UP meeting and was like, right, this is the protest. You've got to go and bang on the doors of NHS England on a Tuesday afternoon or something, or whatever we ended up doing it. Anyway, so the Department of Health protest came around because it was the NHS England had just said that they're doing the trial and they're not going to make it widely available. Everyone is raging at this point. NAT are raging. They decide to do the legal challenge. Then we decide that legal challenge is not enough. There needs to be a street protest to show how angry the community is, because it was like, this was rage, and street protesting is like how you demonstrate rage. It's not through talking and lobbying. It's like, I'm raging in the fucking street right now. So then went back to, I sat on in this United for Prep meeting, then went back to the ACT UP meeting, and was like, they're not doing anything, we're going to do something. And everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, thank God. And like, people actually want to protest.
Is that back in Positively UK?
So this was back in Positively UK.
Yeah.
So
Missioned it across London.
Yeah, legged it across London quick.
With Greg?
No, Greg didn't come. Greg was disagreeing with ACT UP at this point.
Why?
So Greg was like, he was not liking the way that ACT UP was being run. He was not liking the way people were talking. It wasn't feeding his own agenda enough.
What did he not like about the way it was being run?
He was like, he wasn't getting on with a lot of people in ACT UP. Like Jason Jones.
He didn't get on with Jason?
They were very up and down, those two.
Okay, yeah.
He also was like, he used to moan about you a lot as well.
Oh, he was arguing about me. Yeah.
So he was raging against you as well, and was just like, and he was kind of saying that ACT UP aren't doing anything, and I'm like, well, ACT UP have got about 7 campaigns, and like only half a campaign on PrEP, and you're not liking it because they've only got half a campaign on PrEP, and actually, but they're all like doing stuff about like ACT UP women and like migrants, and like they're getting involved in things like Yarl's Wood and stuff, and I'm like, they are doing stuff, it's just not feeding your agenda at the moment. So anyway, he got disillusioned from ACT UP and stopped going. So I was like, right, I'm going to leg it over to ACT UP right now, because it's still like no one's doing any of the street protesting. Walked in and was like, right, this is the deal. Talked to Deborah Gold from NET. She was like, the target is Department of Health, not NHS England. We've done NHS England. They are obviously under the thumb. Basically what needs to happen is NHS England have already failed. Department of Health needs to come in and override their decision. So the target is Department of Health. Then it's like, oh yes, intel gathering, so good.
I love it. What is good about intel gathering?
Oh my god, it's like you find out the best shit with intel gathering, and it really like it's that moment when like you've got all of this vague plan where you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a protest, but we don't really know where, we don't know when, we don't know how, and everything. And then like this one piece of intelligence comes through, and you're like, right, target, time, done. So good. It really like you make jumps with progress when you get this. So went back to ACT UP. ACT UP were also busy with a lot of shit. We were making banners for something. Can't remember what we were making banners for. It was in this house down south in Brixton.
Danny's house.
Was it Danny's house? It was Danny's house.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we were making banners for. You were there. Shy was there.
Shy. Well, it might have been for the Department of Health protest. So we had loads of banners. You'd either do it for that.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Or Yaleswood, or maybe the Jizz Potion action.
Yeah.
You had the Jizz Potion?
No, I wasn't at that. I think I was out of town at that one. That was a great one. Then anyway, ACT UP was strained on manpower. Because, and so basically me and Colette were like, we've got time, we can put time into this right now.
You two smashed it.
So then we were like, and everyone else was like, Mara was like run off her feet making stuff with other campaigns. You were also busy with other campaigns at the time, and me and Colette were like, and like we were the two that were like really like into PrEP as well.
Colette's back in London, I think.
Is she?
Yeah, love Colette.
Nice. And then we were like, okay, right. And so basically, I also got a bit outraged that there's the entire United for PrEP coalition, and it's come to 2 grassroots activists who are basically doing almost all of the organising by themselves. Sure, everyone's going to turn up on the day, and I'm really happy about that, and I'm thankful that for everything. But for the pre-work, for the organising, the shit you have to get done before your protest, that was Colette a lot, and me as well. And was like, just...
And these people get paid.
Yeah. They've got fucking funding, and they've got volunteers underneath them and stuff. If THT tell volunteers to help them, they will do it. And it's like, why? Colette had been doing activism for 6 months or something.
And had an intense full-time job.
Yeah, and had a massive full-time job, and we were like, how has this massive protest now fallen to me and her as well? It was like, that's a travesty. So it was,
Says a lot.
yeah. But then, anyway, that was my favourite protest because it was like, that was really like, all of this, and I was like, no one wanted to speak at the protest, so I was like on the microphone as well. And I was like, and afterwards, I was like shitting my pants for most of it, but afterwards there was a massive sense of achievement that we'd pulled it off.
Because there were loads of different people.
There was loads of different people. There was the African rainbow family turned up.
Yeah.
NAT turned up in loads of numbers. Random people off Grindr turned up as well.
Yeah, all the porn star lot.
Yeah, all the porn for prep people
Yeah.
came as well. Kevin was there. I was so happy we had like
Kevin.
you know he's like doing like disabled representer.
Oh, I worked with Kevin in Queer Tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was like it was so diverse, this protest as well. It wasn't even like, you know, just these like middle-aged white gay men like standing around. It was hitting everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we had all of the people lined up saying the chants was so good as well, like 17 a day won't go away.
Shy's thing was amazing.
Did the NHS forget to douche because they're full of shit?
I remember we made them in the back of my gaff at that time.
Oh, that was
You, Shy, Killer.
This is the absolute
Who else
best.
came round and made them placards? Can't remember.
Oh, so good.
Good day.
There was the girl, and she was talking about sex workers a lot. She's got long, dark blonde hair.
Really tall.
No, she's
English collective prostitutes, maybe.
Yeah, she's quite well built. And she's like,
Oh, did I? We'll rewatch the video. Paolo, obviously, I love Paolo.
Yeah.
Paolo, just.
And we had like TV there as well.
Loads of
London.
coverage.
What's that TV channel? That London TV channel.
London Today, maybe.
London Today. Anyway, yeah, there was fucking everyone there. It was
Loads
so
of
good.
good
That protest.
And what about your two lowlights?
Lowlights was.
Doesn't have to be actions. Could be like. Just two lowlights during that whole journey.
I can tell you one which might not be able to go in the book.
Yeah.
Realising that it was actually just simply too impossible to work with Greg any longer, and that either like if me and Greg cannot work together, then only one of us can take on this website. And
I mean, I can totally like take his name out and talk more on a theoretical level about working dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having activists or activists or certain people that are so impossible to work with that it's impossible to work with them any longer, and you just cannot. You just must move. There has to be distance in between you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it becomes destructive.
What was the difficulties?
Difficulties was him just acting fucking mental all the time.
Yeah.
There was that, and it being the barriers to getting funding as well for I Want Prep Now, because me and Greg had a point where we were both very willing to throw our entire lives into I Want Prep Now, and people were telling us, oh yeah, we'll get you some funding and stuff, and it was not materialising. And it got to a desperate situation where Greg was literally homeless. Greg was like actually running out of people to stay with, like actually could be on the street very soon. And I was like juggling my day job and then this stuff, and I was like,
He didn't have a date, or he was bar working.
No, he was doing he wasn't, because he kept on leaving or getting fired.
Yeah.
So Greg he wasn't able to hold down a job at this point.
Yeah.
And then he was like literally like beyond the breadline, and then I was also like giving up so much time for this, but I was like, this is unsustainable. I can't do this forever. Like I either need to like throw my life into like possibly like achieving a dream and becoming like a full-time HIV activist, which would have been
wow, what a just quick journey as well.
Yeah. Or actually just being like, okay, this is not sustainable, so I actually just need to not end up in a situation where I can't pay the rent. I have to just carry on with my day job.
Yeah.
So, and the funding didn't come fast enough. So I was not able to actually do what I really dreamed of doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was one low light.
That was one low light. Another low light was there wasn't that many low lights actually.
Good, we'll just leave it at that.
Probably low lights of
No, that's cool. Oh my God, I'm just conscious of the time. We've got to get to bed as well, babe.
Yeah.
I can maybe cut a few. What was Mags Portman's legacy? Let's keep it really short.
Okay.
What was Mags Portman's legacy for you?
Mags Portman had the most inspiring and happy energy surrounding her.
Yeah.
And she had the perfect mix of having the expert knowledge of an actual HIV professional and having the activist fire in the belly of like, fuck the entire system, let's change the entire system. And there's very few people who had both of these. There was a lot of HIV professionals who had expert knowledge, but they did not have the anger that grassroots activists had. And grassroots activists did not have the expert detailed knowledge.
Yeah.
And Mags had both of them.
Colette was great as well.
Yeah, Colette was great as well.
And Sheena.
And Sheena is fantastic. Sheena has the best knowledge of anyone, the absolute best knowledge. But
She doesn't have the
Sheena
range.
is not gonna stand in the street and beat a saucepan, you know.
No.
Mags would do that.
Yeah. It's so savage.
So.
This is what they call in a How to Survive a Plague the inside-outside strategy. You know about that, yeah? Cool. Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who started the Stonewall Riots, which gave rise to the birth of the Gay Liberation Front, fought for healthcare, fought for absolute freedom for all, and you're fighting for healthcare for all. It's such a stupid question. Which cat got your whiskers and why?
Which cat got my whiskers? Can you phrase that differently?
Yeah, I guess it's like, well, basically what I'm trying to get at is like, how do you look at healthcare for all in the context of the Stonewall Riots, which is around absolute freedom for all? Yeah. What's healthcare got to do with absolute freedom for all?
Well,
I was just being a sarky twat.
If you don't have healthcare, you don't have freedom.
That's what I wanted. Yeah.
Because there's no freedom without healthcare, because how are you supposed to... You're enslaved to the healthcare system if you do not have adequate healthcare being provided to you when you need it.
Yeah.
If you are part of a minority, if you don't have any money, if you, for example, might have money but still there's massive barriers to healthcare, for example with trans people, it takes so many years for a transition to happen. And if you do not, like, a trans person is not free unless they are able to access the adequate healthcare that enables them to be themselves.
Yeah.
And it's the same with people with HIV or Hep C, or like, I mean, like with PrEP, gay men are not free. They cannot lead a free sex life without the adequate healthcare, such as PrEP as well.
Yeah.
So if you don't have healthcare, then you're not free.
Thank you. It's the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall Riots. Do we need bricks now? We have queer freedom. If so, if you had a brick, who would you chuck it at and why?
Well, as we just said, I don't think we have queer freedom unless we have queer healthcare, and we don't really have queer healthcare at the moment. So yeah.
What for you would be a good? What 3 demands for queer healthcare have you got at the moment?
I mean, sex workers need like actual dedicated, high level, labour intensive services.
Yeah.
And the gay community, I'm going to give you 4.
Good.
Then the LGBTQIA plus people still have a massive problem with alcohol use, drug use, and suicide as well. No one is helping people get over queer trauma as well. So
tell me a bit about that.
So no one. So basically, the vast majority of LGBTQIA plus people have all gone through trauma in their lives because of their gender or sexuality or whatever part of them that makes them queer. And everyone just gets on with it, and those people often just shut it out, and it ends, and like, for example, no one is going like, do you actually want to have, like, you know, no one is offering them, for example, like 10 years of therapy that they need to talk about this stuff and to come to terms with themselves. And so this is like completely explicitly shown with things like everyone is just like, the whole community, like, it's like for gay men, like the whole community is based around alcohol and going to gay bars and stuff. And it's like trans people have horrifying rates of suicide, and like there's huge like social problems in the community because no one is like properly having the opportunity to deal with this trauma that they've been through on even like a low level basis throughout their entire life, such as not being able to wear the jacket that they want to wear when they walk their dog through the park because their jacket's a bit gay, and someone might shout at them, shout some homophobic abuse at them in the park. This is like trauma to go through. So, and there is not adequate services to help the community get through this, which results in very tangible things such as huge levels of drug use, huge levels of alcohol abuse, and really super high suicide rates.
That's going to be the focus of our big event we've got on March the 28th.
Yeah.
Because there's been so many more deaths recently.
Other demands. Trans people need like radical changes to access to healthcare.
Yeah.
It's shocking how long it takes from beginning to end for any trans person to make any form of transition. Then I had a fourth one as well, which was gone out of my head. I might come back to you on that.
No, that's brilliant, babes. Have you read the book The Body Keeps the Score?
No, I haven't.
You'd love that. The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Vessel van der Kolk about trauma. It's a game changer. How'd you get books here? Where's your good bookshop?
There's a gay bookshop up the road.
Is it?
Yeah.
That won't be in it, it's not gay.
You can order it in there.
Yeah.
But anyway. What, you want a big bookshop?
No, I'm just thinking for you, it's just because the German Post...
Because I stopped buying books online, basically.
Yeah,
I order them all to my bookshop now, to the gay bookshop up the road.
Oh, sweet.
So make them pay for it through there.
Nice, perfect, and it's just there.
Yeah.
Right, we'll cut a few questions out. Tell us about your favourite queer London spot, which you've never told. Tell us about a story, your favourite queer London spot, that you've never told anyone, that has dug deep in your soul and placed it geographically, which made you be the giant, fabulous butthole you are today.
Favourite queer London spot?
It could be something personal, it could be something famous, it could be
the amount of strange men that I've had sex with after Horse Meat Disco is horrifying.
In which alleyway?
In Vauxhall Park.
Where's the best place in Vauxhall Park?
In the middle of the park.
Yeah.
Basically, I lived 2 minutes walk from Horse Meat Disco, from the Eagle.
Dangerous.
And used to go there almost every Sunday and would regularly get horrendously drunk. Would quite often go to the Hoist beforehand as well.
Yeah, I remember
as a warm up. Yeah. And then we'd go to Horse Meat after.
Yeah.
Then would have...
As a warm up. Hoist is just a little...
That's my warm up, you know.
That's my start. Yeah.
And then...
It's gone now.
Got to a point where my flatmates were saying, it's fine to have one guy back, but I used to go to the club, pull, take him back to my flat, shag him, go back to the club, pull another one, bring him back to my flat. Bring like 3 or 4, do this like 3 or 4 times in one night.
Oh, I love it. So good.
Or would go to Vauxhall Park down the road and have sex there. Then at one point we're having sex and the police come up and ask if we're trying to take drugs, and we're like, no, we're not taking drugs, we're actually having sex. And then they're like, oh, sorry. And then also like, I gave out my number to.
They didn't try and arrest you in the pub.
Huh?
They didn't try and arrest you.
No, they came up and they were like, what are you doing? Have you got any drugs on you? And I know, and he was like, what's that in your hand? And I was like, it's a condom wrapper. I was like, do you want my condom wrapper? And then
you gave your number.
I gave my number to a million different people. I used to hand out my number to probably sometimes more than 10 guys in one night.
Yeah.
And would also like.
How did you do it? Did you write it down?
No, it'd just be like, give me a phone. Just give me your phone right now.
I need a bit of that. Just like say, this is my number.
Yeah.
I need that in my life. I need to do that more.
And then used to pull like weird people that had the worst chat ever. That weren't even hot as well. I had one guy who. He said he didn't have Tourette's, but he was acting like he had Tourette's, and would like make these like really like we'd be kissing each other, and then he'd like pull back and like make like a really loud bird sound and like squawk like a bird, and they'd be like, oh yeah, and then just like carrying, and I'm like, wow, this is really strange at the moment.
Wow.
And like yeah. Old man who did terrible things to me, I had one guy who stuck his maybe you can't put this in the book, but he stuck 2 fingers up my arse and then tried to put it in my mouth as well, and I was like, that is not very appetizing right now.
Yeah,
as well. And like, a lot of stuff like this.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, Maya Angelou, who wrote When the Cage Bird Sings, talks about a cage in a bird. I mean, no, she doesn't. She talks about a bird in a cage. Picture it. Where do you see yourself in the context of the Stonewall 50th, PrEP, everything we've talked about? Are you the bird or the cage or both or something else? Or
I mean, we're definitely the bird.
Oh.
Caged in by society, I think.
Okay.
Because, I mean, am I the bird or the cage?
Yeah, where do you see yourself in it?
Where do I see myself? I mean, I would definitely relate a lot to this bird that's trapped in this cage that's trying to like flap around and like making a lot of noise, being like, let me out, like I'm trying to break free from all of this shit right now. And then like the cage is just being completely unresponsive, i.e. the UK government. And just being completely unresponsive and ignoring everything that everyone is shouting and screaming and flapping about, and just all of the bureaucrats and everyone is just not listening to the community and giving them what they need.
Is that partly why you left?
Yes, definitely, because I couldn't stand living under the UK government anymore.
They're such bastards. But what will give you hope this year to not you know, it's naive to think we'll break out the cage, but what will give you hope this year, obviously now at the beginning of the year, to continue doing what you do? What gives you hope, essentially?
What gives me hope? Seeing fresh and intense activist movements come up. For example, I've found Extinction Rebellion a very inspiring movement. And seeing the intensity and the passion that they all have, and the fact that they are like making so much progress as well is very inspiring, and is inspiring to translate all of that success and that passion into other campaigns as well, such as around HIV.
What about how you can take that energy?
Yeah, it's how you can get this momentum from each other and be inspired by such other amazing activists that might be campaigning for something completely different to what you are, but actually you can completely learn from each other and become inspired by each other, and then you'll both be successful together.
And that's, I guess, what your experience with migrant struggles and...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, anything else in terms of what else gives you hope?
No, I've got no hope.
Okay, last week, quick fire round questions, just like one line each. Finish the sentence, brick by brick, stone by stone.
You you will not have to do it alone.
Oh, that's really nice. No, that's really nice. No one said that yet. What's Berlin got that Birmingham doesn't?
You will not have to fight alone.
Oh.
What's Berlin got that Birmingham hasn't? It's got more dark rooms.
More dark rooms. How much does annual membership cost to be a member of RSPAB?
The Royal Society for the Protection of Alex's Butthole.
Yeah.
The membership requirements are you have to, for the duration of use of my butthole, you have to, number one, let me play Diana Ross in the mornings, and number two, listen to me and give intelligent responses when I bitch about racism.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I've been seeing some of your posts.
Yeah.
Because you've been pissed off that...
I've been so pissed about racism.
Right, we can stop the interview now. Well, actually, no. I mean, if you want to talk about that, actually, it's very relevant.
I'm just getting really pissed off about racism right now because there's so many middle-aged, white, gay German men who do not have an understanding of racism and think that, for example, when you discuss racism, even in the most basic way, they suddenly jump into white fragility and just start attacking you, saying that you're attacking them, and just absolutely having a less than basic understanding of this, and not even accepting what other people might be saying, just attacking them as a response, and calling them things like the political correctness police.
Yeah, God, there's so much of that. There's so much. Oh my God, we're looking for an hour. Well, thanks, babe. That was brilliant.